Helps people first define what it is they're trying to achieve and then helps them achieve it. It's a little different from what a life coach does, because a life coach tends to just help you pull you discover what your challenges, dragging, kicking, and screaming if I have to. But it's just something I thought I could just do, but I never really took it seriously because I never knew people could get paid to talk. So it wasn't until eventually I met one of my mentors, a fantastic, phenomenal gentleman by the name of Pt2, who is Nigeria's leading motivational speaker, and I had the opportunity to work with him. First as a volunteer, I would just come and help out, do whatever I could. But the first time I heard Fela speak, it was actually in church, and I just got this strong sensing in my heart that, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And I'd heard pastors preach, I heard speakers speak, but no one had at that time that kind of effect or impact on me. And going back in my mind, I remember that I had this interaction with God, and God said to me that this is exactly what I want you to do. And I didn't really understand. I thought Fela was a pastor, so I'm a pastor, forget it, that's not going to happen. And long story short, I found out that as a consultant, I get paid to solve problems. As a life strategist, I help people get paid to solve people's problems. As a speaker, I also get paid to solve people's problems. So that's been really exciting. It's been very profitable. It's been very fulfilling, much beyond the money. It's just the opportunity to change somebody's life by something you say. I hear people, I meet people who say you said something 5 years ago and it's stuck with me and it's changed my life forever. Or I was at your training and you said this and I held on to it and I did something with it. So those things pay me much better than money, but money's good.
Okay, do you remember the first platform at which you spoke? And what was it like?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember that. I was going to speak at a church, and I was supposed to be speaking to the youth of one particular church. I can't remember the name of the church right now, but I remember that they did a flyer, and they sent me the flyer. So one of my friends, Chisom, sent me the picture. She was like, "Dude, you're on the flyer!" And it was a big deal, man. It was a huge deal. That was the first time I saw my face used in advertising for a program. It was a huge deal, and I spoke to the youth church. And it was a blessing. I hadn't become quote-unquote Steve Harris. I wasn't quote-unquote successful. I was still trying to find myself, but that was the first platform post dropping out of school that I started to talk and get people inspired and motivated. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Like we say then, Lebrodons, Mantos. You are an author.
Yeah.
I remember I read your book, and his book, From College Dropout to Corporate Sellout,
yeah.
Right? When I saw the title, I went off, as in totally switched off, because for me it was quite brilliant to have come up with something like that. And having read the book, and by the way, you should go out and get the book, College Dropout to Corporate Sellout, fantastic book. And when I read the book, it was a book that really transformed my life. But the big question is, what inspired you to get it into paper?
Okay, it's a great question. I'd been going to speak and, somehow I just started sharing my pain because I found out that there's a lot of power in pain. And I had a lot of pain. I'd go to speak, and while I'd be talking to people about how they could make their life better, I started, just chipping it in, I'd say that, would you believe it if I told you that I dropped out of school? And nobody would believe it, and I began to just share with them. And I noticed that every time I shared that message with people, it would just bless their lives tremendously. It was just people were just called, it was just crazy. right? And after a while, I was just doing that. In fact, I started getting so many more invitations to speak and tell people how I dropped out of school and why I dropped out of school and how from dropping out of school twice you become this successful consultant, motivational speaker, yada yada yada. And it was just becoming too much. So one day I was chatting with one of my friends who's now my publisher, Shimo Salana, and he said to me, he said, "Uncle, this thing you keep going." He said, because at the time I was trying to write a book, which is my third book, which is not yet out, Honey Why We Pour. So I was writing on financial intelligence and yada yada, and I was just stuck. I had writer's block, so I was just stuck, and I've been stuck for like 4 months. So he said to me, "Uncle, you know what? Leave that book. You've been going around the place telling people how you dropped out of school. Why don't you write about that?" So I was like, "I don't know now. Don't you think it sounds arrogant? How can I tell people that I dropped out of school and now today I'm a success?" In fact, because I think in order to be able to write your biography, you must have achieved a lot of things, and I haven't achieved anything. Okay, I dropped out of school, and today some things are already working, but no, now. So I thought it was very arrogant, so I resisted it for a long time. So he said to me, "You've been telling people and their lives have been changing. What if you could just write about what you know?" And I started writing about it, and in 3 weeks of release, we sold 1,000 copies. That's 1,500 naira. That's so automatically I made 1.5 million naira. That was me who did not have money. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's been 2 years or so since I wrote that book, and we've sold maybe 8,000 copies and counting. And I've written other books since then, and I've just seen my life change by the power of one decision. And that's the truth. Our lives will change basically on each decision we make. Yeah.
Speaking of your book, what are the few tips or messages you feel that you put in there that could take a person's life from grade 0 to grade 5, say?
Yeah. Well, I would say there are two things that immediately come to mind. The first is what I always say. It's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have that you don't know how to use.
Pause, rewind, and play.
Okay. It's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have but you don't know how to use. So what does that mean? A lot of us look at the things that we don't have. So I don't have a degree. I don't have money. I don't have anybody to help me. I don't have, and I don't have. And when we think of all the I don't haves, it paralyzes us from taking action. But then I look at it and I say, okay, what is it that I have? Like Nigerian police will say, well, that would see you carry. You know what I mean? So I ask myself that question, what do I have? And in all the fact that, okay, I didn't have a degree, I didn't have any qualifications, I don't have a CV, okay, what do I have? I can talk. Okay, where can I talk? Okay, I can talk in churches, talk in schools, talk in organizations, right? And I started talking. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing that is most paramount in that book is something that I said, God's greatest desire for me is to earn a fee doing something that I could do for free. I'll say that again. God's greatest desire for me is to earn a fee doing something that I was created to do for free. So, Poto, if you think about it, man, if you look at the top 5 or top % of the people in the world that are successful, they all love what they do. And they're actually doing what they love. So you notice, for example, maybe Michael Jackson, been singing, rest in peace, singing since he was 5 years old. He had a 45-year career doing what? Music. He loved music. Could sing, rap, dance, everything. The comedians in Nigeria, Ali Baba, Basketball, AY, MC Abe, love jokes. It comes to them means that they are practical jokers, and now they've made a business from their talents, right? You look at you love what you're doing. You're doing this show. You love to, communicate with people, share, and impact people. And now you're getting paid for that as well. So, wouldn't it be so much better if you could find that thing that you could be good at? You could be the best in the world at, and it fulfills you every day. And after a while, you start getting paid for that. Think about it. Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, they get paid to play ball. They love to play ball, and they love playing. It comes to them naturally. So why don't we just stop trying to pressure ourselves? The reason I got into industrial maths in Univel was because I couldn't study engineering, but they gave me maths. And in reality, if I think about it, if I studied engineering, I would have still failed. If I studied mass communication or English or something that had to do with communication, I would have had a first class.
One. you for listening to this music. I say, making sure I pie, mama rap around your son. Smoking shit comedian to crack out jokes, still funny. I got my mother, my money.